Hello, hello, Rhoda here. Welcome to my craft room. And today we are working on the third signature of the Century Journal. And in my spare time, like last night and maybe the night before, I was working on a few of these. These are the simple journals that I usually do. They have like a Stamperia pad that I usually have. This one was around the world and I had about 6 of the pages that were like just a overall. It had a scene on it of some type. That's the type that I'll turn into a cover, and then I'll take some of my spare papers that I've got, which some of them are my dyed papers and some of them are out of a paper pad, and I cut them down to the 8.5 by 11 size, like a notebook page. And I just put them in here. Now, usually it's a no-no for me to do white. I don't like to have white, but I thought, this is a lesser price journal. Usually I sell them for like, I think it's 25 down at the shop. And anyway, I did a little stamping in these. This one had a pretty boat on the front and like scenes of the ocean and crabs and whales and things like that. So this one got those type of ephemera pieces that were out of the Stamperia pad. Because you'll have journal cards, you've got like little tag sort of things, you've got word quote pages, stuff like that. This was a fussy cut boat. And the reason I did this is what I wanted to show you. The reason I did the pockets on the top here, this is the only one I did it like that, is because I had this ocean down here and I didn't want to cover it up. That would have been totally covered and all I would have had was this sort of plain top. So I decided to do it like this as an upper tuck, and like I could get, the journal cards or whatever large item that the person might want to put in there would fit. And then I had the, let me find it. I went over and put it away. So this is the Tim Holtz cling stamps, and it's, does it have a name? I don't have a name on here. This one has like 2 pieces to it, but I don't think there's anything. Nope, there's nothing in there. So I don't know what it's called, but it had a train, a car, a boat, and then you had the train tracks, you had the crossing, passenger ticket. You had, like for the car, you had the tire tracks here, the Route 66 and road trip. And then for the ship, you had the Bon Voyage and cabin class stateroom. So I used all of those in little groupings in here. So here you see the road trip one. And I had one neutral one that said the journey is the destination. But I just kind of mixed and matched. And I did it in a blue. I thought that would be really pretty. And then I just kind of, they're like a rainbow color, but I was trying to match what was in the actual paper pad, and it didn't work. Here's another thing I wanted to show you. This is sort of like my sneaky peek of the day. Okay, so here, these are some papers that I made out in the yard the other year. I think it was the year before last. I can't remember. But it's a triple dip. Okay, so the first dip is this really light blue here. And I figured anything would like color over top of that. So I let it dry. Then I came in and I dipped it again with this darker blue. Let it dry. And then I came back in and did this here. Now, it kind of bleeds up, especially if it's still sort of wet. It'll bleed up a little bit and get, different levels and stuff like that. I've got one in this other one that I actually did something that looked like seaweed. That's what I was going for. I was trying to do something for like the Mermaid Journal. I believe it was what it was for. So I was just experimenting. It's fun to experiment. And here's the one with the train, and it had the track, the crossing, the passenger ticket, and then I've got the Route 66. They look like they're together in some places, because that was about the only place I could think to put these. It had to be a lighter color, and that kind of thing. So, yeah, I think that is it. And then this one has like it's very faint, but there is a vinyl placemat that was down at Walmart, and I would lay that over top in between layers and stuff, and you get these impressions. It's sort of like what they do with the lace. Okay, so I just went ahead and put another one of those name quote thingies around the world here. A few little stamps. I made this into a pocket. And then I've got a big postcard in behind there. So that's what I did for that. And then the other one, I put a guy here with a suitcase because it was sort of neutral. It didn't really have anything to the outside. And then I put a race car. Maybe that's his rental. So, and then anything to do with the race cars and all went in here. Has a real pretty inside, but I didn't think it would make a good cover. So yeah, I just put that in here. The little fish got cut in half. There's the rest of him. So I put the little postcard thing here with a couple of gewgaws, some luggage, this little newspaper kind of thing. I kind of stuck it up so it'd be different looking. This is an envelope here that you can put anything into you want. And it was really pretty. Then there's just like one of those plain postcards. And then the rest of it is just the background. But yeah, you can always do so much with these Stamperia pads. I usually scope them out and make sure I've got, sometimes we'll get circular little discs that you can put in as decorations. Sometimes you get a whole thing of little tags. You usually get a whole thing of journal cards. And in this one, I guess I've got two different things. Well, I'll show you the outsides of these. Now, see, this is all the little goodies I picked out to go in this Paris one. So everything that had to do with Paris or the Eiffel Tower kind of went in here. And that's what I'll use to decorate the pieces of this, if it needs anything, like maybe right in here. That kind of is pretty well done. But up in here, I could put something. That's also a great place to journal. But on the outside, I actually had to take this apart because this was actually on the back side when I would fold it in half. So I actually cut that off and I put it onto a little piece of, and you can't see it because I've got the washi in there. But it's on a little piece of bent, like maybe a half of an inch. And I glued that to the back side because that was the plain. That would have been the front. And you don't, that's ugly. You don't want that for the front. All right, here is one that has like a big world map on it and some Latin or something. And I don't even know if that would really need anything else. It may. But I've got like a little traveling lady in this one because it had to go with traveling. I put the balloon items in here, the big old car, and that's another world map. So it was sort of like the traveling part is what I had here, and a pretty postcard with the balloons. And this one has like all kinds of things, but I picked out the aviation part of it to be the theme of this one. So, oh, I got my little dollars trying to run away. So I've got the aviation. The plane is on most of the little goodies. That will go in this one. This was a little fussy cut here. That one I think is on that one here. But I said, oh well, I'll put it over here. And there's the plane again. This one only has like the Model T car. So I'll find somewhere to put him. Maybe he'll go on the front. To give it some enhancement. It needs some, maybe the plane and the car can go on the front. And that kind of would lead you in. And then I made it confusing because the plane is actually on this one. But there was a lot of bicycle things. So this one's got the Bon Voyage. You got the bicycles on the back and around the world. And then so I kind of did this one as a London, like because there's Big Ben. And also with the bicycles, because maybe you'll bike around London. And so that's the way I made this one work. There's a little fuzzy cut. This one's actually got all kinds of destinations you've been to. These were kind of a cool journal card because they all had like things on it like London. And then there's the bike. So yeah, you can see how I was going with that. And then over here, I've got all of the the papers already folded, ready to go, because I had to get them all stamped on the right page, you know. So I was trying to see where I had that other kind of goofy one. I don't quite see it. Oh, there it is. There it is. There's the seaweed. So I did the triple dip, and then I went in there with a paintbrush in that last dip that I did, and I kind of swirled it up and did a little few dots and everything. What do you think? You know, it's fun to play. It's really fun to play. Okay, so all I have to do now, after I get these put together and, you know, decorated, is to go in and sew them into the journals. Or sew them together. I did have a few other things that were sent from Chestita that will probably get cut up and put in there too, because it's got like a traveling theme to it, because this has got Paris. That's the only thing I could pick out of it is Paris. But I'll probably cut that apart and put it through some. Here's the railroad tickets. Now this is from Kyung's kit, or Ren, I'm sorry. I keep calling her by Kyung. That was her first name. now she's called Ren. But she has a railroad digital. She's Wonders by Wink on Etsy. So she has a great train digital that has all kinds of wonderful stuff. And these are like little tickets that she had in there. And this, I have no clue if that was still part of Ren's kit or what. It could be, because Chestita printed out that one big batch of stuff that was from this train digital that was all in green, light green. So that could be where that's from. But I'm going to use it. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. All right, let's get our sensory journal over here. I've been just chatting away, haven't I? I want to thank everyone for coming to visit. Should have did that at the very beginning. Here is all my little pieces and parts and goodies that's left over. So I'm still debating on where to use some of that stuff. The first signature, done. Second signature, done. As far as I can tell. And then, so I've got 2 left. So let's get these 2 out of the way. And over here. And I'll set that aside because I don't need the fourth one. We'll do that another day. And this may be hitting you on Thanksgiving Day. And if it does, hope you have a great time with your family, your friends, with a delicious meal all by yourself, however you like to honor the day. But I hope some of our outside of the U.S. people, like our Canada watchers and our, you know, over there in the European area watchers, I hope you have a nice day too. I don't know if you say you don't celebrate the same ones that we do. But yes, this is the day when the pilgrims came and met the Indians and broke bread and fish and all that other kind of stuff. All right, so got a bunch of little pieces already picked out to go through here. So let's get to it. Now, my mom went to see her sugar doctor today, and my brother went down to go with her. I was thinking she wanted me to go, and I said, you know, the other day I swear Alan said that he was going to go with you. So he goes and calls me and says he's going, so that let me get up there and cook my beans. I got my deviled eggs boiled, so they're ready to be broken apart and, you know, mixed up to be deviled eggs. That I'll probably do this evening. And then I've got my, like I said, I got my beans out there boiling away with their little ham bone friend. And I usually like to put them on there at least a couple hours. And I'll probably just take them off, put them in the refrigerator, and then pull them back out and do it again tonight. Because I don't think they're going to get softened down and shrunk the way I'm wanting them to. Because I really like when they break down or shrivel up, that kind of thing. All right, I'm thinking I want this kind of down here. Look at that little thing of coffee on the back. Darn it. I don't know if I could put it out there as a tab. It's going to stick out too far. I don't know what to do with that. It probably has enough coffee cups in here already, so I don't think I'm going to worry about it. Although that is cute. This little coffee and chocolate kit, Stamperia pad, it's kind of cool. I like it. There's one I got before that was, what was that? Lace? It was lace and wood. And now that's one that I couldn't get quite into that one. It was just so dark and somber, but it did have light elements with the lace, but still, I wasn't that crazy about it. So, yeah, I was able to use it up over time. I think I actually didn't do a book of like I usually do with it. I think I just took pieces and parts and used them throughout things and got rid of it that way. Now I'm going to put this here like that. And then I'll see about putting that like that maybe. I can hear my little beans bubbling away. Been throwing a little bit of pepper in there, and that's about the only thing I've added to them. I did add a little bit of garlic powder, but just a little bit. I wanted the ham flavor out of the bone and all that to come through. And that's usually what they go crazy about. I got a little piece of wood here. And, you know, I'm going to stick it there. I need to do a little bit here to this edge, though. I don't want that white to be blaring. Yeah, I got little pieces and parts, and I want to try to use them. I got a little bit of coffee grounds here, and I was sort of wondering if I could do something with that. I needed a little bit of texture on this front page. I don't really have anything. So I thought, well, you know, maybe that little bit right there would add interest. Give them something to feel. Kind of goes with the color tones. Okay, I had to go out and stir my baked beans or green beans. Okay, this is the page that has, look at this pretty little teacup. I love that. I got chocolate lover. I've got like a piece of pie. And those are going to go over here on this little netting kind of a thing. But this is a napkin that I had picked out. Now I've got a couple of layers of the napkin that need to come off. I didn't know if they would agree with me. I probably need some tape. So, let me get a little piece of my package tape. And usually you can like rip a hole in it. There we go. And I kind of wanted it, I thought I wanted it to be rough on the edge. But I don't really know now. I might not want it that way. There we go. And that's that. That's how you can get the backing off your napkins if you haven't seen that trick done by anybody yet. Yeah, I think I like it just straight like that. So I'm going to go in, put me a big swath, whoops, of glue stick. You could probably use some rice paper glue if you'd rather do that. Regular glue, I don't know if it does the best for this type of a situation. It's really thin stuff like a napkin or a bit of tea bag. That kind of thing may need a gentler touch. And that's why I like to go ahead and use the, oops, might need a little bit more up here. I like to use the glue stick. Alright, let's see if that does the trick. I got a nice little piece of red down at the bottom. Maroon kind of goes with the flowers in this. I'm not really sure what those flowers are. But this will be another bit of texture for the person. Now I can feel I can feel some of the glue stick coming through, but it wouldn't come through like a wet glue. So, depending on how thick you put it on. I put it on a little thicker than usual. Just so I could get it covered. And we're going to go down here like that. Add a little bit more to that edge. I don't think I got it all the way down that edge. But that's alright. Okay. So. Sometimes you can go backwards and then forwards. Alright. Now we're going to figure out what we want to do over here on this other side. And I just wanted something for decoration. So it wasn't plain. You always want to enhance your page in some way, whether it be with a stamp, a stencil. I'm going to probably go through this at the end with stenciling, like here and there. I got to figure out where I want it to go. Because, well, stenciling isn't really something that the person would be able to feel. So in some cases, I may do texture paste. So I'm going to just have to see if I want to do a mixture. The only problem is I'll probably do only texture paste in one area of each signature because it's got to dry. It's got to stay open and it's got to dry. So it will have to sit and wait. So I'll only be able to do that little bit with you. I'm still debating what I want to do with the, and I think I might put this up here, with the cover. And I'm still thinking along the lines of the Grungy Sunflower cover that I made a few years back. I really loved how that turned out. Now I got a little bit of white there because I didn't want to get in there and cut that. So I'm going to go with a little bit of Vintage Photo that's still left on my brush spouncer and kind of dull that back. So that worked. Okay. This over here, it's got a nice little wrinkle bit to it. I think it took that from the page itself maybe. So that's kind of cool. So that's a texture as well. And I don't want it to stick. So I'm going to actually put this in here to protect the other side. Alright, this page is already done. I'd already put this sticker in earlier. It had a map here, so I thought the map over here would do. And this is just like some little scraps. And then history of the coffee bean. I wonder if I could put a little bit of coffee in here. Maybe I can do that. What's history of the coffee bean got? Well, I got some coffee there. That's coffee beans. I'm going to actually just rip it a little bit. Like a little banner kind of shape. And cover the edges. I feel like I want to put a little bit of something there. I don't think anybody will see that, but I better cover it anyway. There. I want to just kind of dangle it down here somewhere. And you know that's going to worry me. So I'm going to come in here and snip that. And come across and snip it there. Did you see what was bothering me? That because it being where that bit was there, that little bit that was hanging down. All right, tiny tad more, and then that's it. All right, now let's glue it. Now that my crafty OCD has been taken care of, that's what I'm going to be labeling it from now on, my craft OCD. When Mama's eye's not happy, nobody's happy. Oh gosh. Okay. I know some of y'all watching me thinking I'm nuts. One lady said, "You'd be so much fun to craft with." And I said, "I'm sorry to tell you that I'm usually just quiet." I'm usually very quiet. I listen to my little AI stories, and I'll sit here and I'll do my crafting, and cat lays over here on the bed and watches me, or tries to lay on my stuff. And I said, I'm not so fun in. All right, we have all of these little goodies. This kind of color, I think, goes with the coffee pot really well. And this is my middle piece, isn't it? So let's see about setting that down there. And I like these old percolators. Okay, I was watching, I think it was TV last night. And you know how there's Black Friday. You know, you got Thanksgiving, then you got Black Friday. And then you have Cyber Monday, which I can't remember how many years ago they started that, but they started doing Cyber Monday, where if you're ordering on your computer, you can get a bunch of deals and stuff there. Well, needless to say, you know, a lot of people do Black Friday like that now. But, and I'm going to put that right here. I got to find the 12. There's the 12. Okay. But now there was, what was it, Tuesday or something Tuesday? I don't know. Maybe y'all have heard of it. That's the first time I'd heard of anything being specialized on Tuesday after Thanksgiving. So, I mean, I might put the coffee down here. So, yeah, it's kind of they just keep stretching out that, I guess you can call it a holiday. They just keep stretching it out. All right, got all of that there. Now, I want the cafe. I think I'll put it right above that. It's a really nice day out here today. It's in the low 60s. It is going to get colder tonight, though. It's going to go down into the 30s. Right before dawn, it's going to be like freezing. So, you know, you get a little bit of this and you get a little bit of that. I kind of like how that turned out. All right. This is a belly band. And I don't know that... I'm going to have to see if I've got anything that could go in this belly band, because I think I've divided everything else up. I might have to find me some other just neutral kind of piece of paper. This was just a little cut off from one of the pages. I made a journal card out of that and made that a tuck. And then I got this cup of coffee and thing right over here. Then here's plain sheet, just in case. Now this, I meant to get in here and spray this with you. I'm wanting to see if this can be sprayable, and the color will come through this and take that yellow away. This is just bubble wrap packaging, and you know, I felt it the other day and I thought, oh, you know, I would love to feel something like that. It's just got, you don't have to punch them unless you wanted to. But it's just got like a cool feel to it. All right, so we're going to bring the splat box over here real quick and see what we can do here. I'm going to turn it upside down. The other side I don't need to cover. Now I got to figure out what I want to use. You know, I got so many things in the way. I've got all those totes with all that stuff Chestita sent me down below. This may be something that I have to spray, and then I may have to wait and show you what happens in the next one. Now, this is tea-dye. That was vintage photo stain. These are just the spray stains, so they don't oxidize or anything. But I want to get just like a brown color. Now, that's a pretty color there. That mixture. I like it. Now, where is my... something to wipe my nose with. There we go. All right. So I'm going to actually set that to the side after I wipe all my noses off. And I'm going to see if it'll go through. I have no guarantee that it would go through that packaging, but we're going to wait and see. If it doesn't, it may be that I can use some water, spray it with water where it would saturate through. And then this little piece here was to go with it. I'm going to try to make like a frame, I think, to go around it. So that's why that little piece is there. So I can use up the rest of the wood. Okay, and then I have a couple little goodies here for decoration for this page. And we'll decorate them down here on this lower edge because the other one we went high. So I'm going to put chocolate down here. Okay. I'll just kind of put that down here to the side. And then we have this neat looking little advertisement. Okay. We're just going to kind of boot him on top here. And then we're going to put Mr. Cupcake right beside him. Okay, like that. Chocolate. Let's hold that down for a minute. Alright, on to the next page. Okay, this one has the tea bag on it. Plus we have, I think this is my last page, isn't it? Yeah, it is. So I think that was to go down here, and I may make that into a tuck. So let me round the corner. I always like to do a rounded corner, kind of so they can tell that that's sort of a tuck. That's my signature. So I'm going to put the glue on the bottom and right side. And then I'm going to put it right here. Now I feel like I need to put some coffee beans here. Let's see what we can do with these coffee beans. We don't need that. But I would like kind of a ragged edge to it. Now it's got some little rings here. I really love the look of that. Yeah, let's go ahead and use all the little coffee beans in this one. And if I was smart, I could have left that up. Oh, there we go. Lift that up a little bit and I could have got it flush, just like that. Okay, let's go ahead and now see, this is something you can do with all of these little extras, pieces that you have. You don't know what to do with them. You just kind of use them to enhance a page. We knew this was about coffee, and we knew it was going to be going with the theme. So yeah, that was part of our background. And it goes with the colors, you know, that you have either side. Let's see, get that a little bit. All right, and then this piece, these little tiny tags are really cute. I love those little coffee cups that's on them. They're so darling. All right, now let's go ahead and do that. And then it says happiness is a cup, and then I've got some other language here that I think I might put that up here. This one's got a lot of little raggedy edges on it. Alright, so about right here in the center, I'm pulling it down just so I can see some of my rings that's up there. Oh, about to lose it. I filled him up, so he's kind of top heavy now. Alright, so let's cap the glue. I'm going to flip back through real quick and show you what we got done. And then I got to go out here, stow the beans away, and get on the road. Alright, so let's find the front. Here we are. Signature 3. Got our pretty little cafe on the front. Then we have the chocolate fondant. Our little wood piece, it gives us some texture. And yeah, then we've got our tea bag, my little rings I made. It kind of gives it just a little bit of glitter and gloss on the page. And then over here, of course, this adds to it. I had to really watch. I put my Bearly Arts glue underneath just the leaf part in a few spots so it would tack it down. But it still kind of messed with a few of them and made it almost look like they were silver. But anyhow, you do what you got to do, right? Some glues really react to these foil things. And I thought this color kind of went with this color, so that's why they got put together. And then we have our map over here, which is the nice, slick, and glossy surface. So that's something as well. See how it shines? And then we just have a really wrinkled page with our coffee bean branch. And, you know, somebody has real sensitive fingers. They can feel that. And then we have our blend coffee in there. Every time I had a doily, I put a clock or something inside of it. Oh, I think that's kind of a neat look. And of course, you know, you can feel that as well. Here is a belly band I really have to do something with. I'm actually going to mark it like that. And that makes... Oh, and the bronze motif. I never did anything with it. Crap. Yes, this bronze motif was to go in here. And look, I almost forgot all about it. I can't even read what I wrote, you know. Because I wrote that right there. Okay. So, let's see. I think the way I wanted to do some of them was just kind of to rip them and have them. So, I might just rip this in half. Let's go ahead and cut the edges off of it. And I'm just going to put that whole thing right here. I don't think I want it to be all one piece, though. Let me look at it after I get it all trimmed out here. Huh. I wonder if that's what I could actually just put over here. You know, I might just do that. I need to cut the edges off of it. Let's just do that. It's not really something you can write on. That's the only problem there. But, you know, they might want to take it out and put it on something else. You sometimes would like to give them like extra pieces and parts and stuff that they could decorate their own journal with. Yeah, you know, I'm liking it. It kind of gives me a background. There we go. Fixed that problem. As long as I can't read my writing, I'm good. Because I did intend to give them a few blank pages in here. All right, there we go. A little side tuck. And this is where we got to figure out if the bubble is going to go. If the bubble doesn't go, I may just take this board and try to edge the side of the page and make a tuck out of it. So that may be what happens there if the bubble wrap doesn't work in our favor. And then, of course, another tuck. Okay, well, we got done with that. I hope you enjoyed everything you got to see today. I hope you have a great Thanksgiving. And I have to go out there and shut the door. The wind has picked up. All right, everybody, take care. And I so appreciate you coming by to visit. I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.